Welcome to today's episode of CITE's Blue Ribbon Project Series. I'm beyond thrilled to have Dr. Josephine Yeboah Van-Ess, a true powerhouse in education. On today's episode, we'll be getting into what it truly means to follow your purpose. Join us as Dr. Van-Ess shares her inspiring journey from her beginnings as an English teacher to her impactful roles as an assistant principal, deputy superintendent, and now superintendent overseeing multiple districts. We're also excited to celebrate Dr. Van-Ess's new role in overseeing and building an HBCU college prep high school in South Queens, New York, in partnership with Delaware State University and Dr. Asya Johnson, the founder and creator of this impeccable initiative. This is a monumental project with immense potential to empower and uplift students in the community. Dr. Van-Ess, we're so honored to have you here today. To kick things off, could you introduce yourself and share what ignited your passion for a career in education?
Yeah. So thank you for having me. I am Dr. Josephine Yeboah Van-Ess. I'm currently the proud superintendent of Queens South High Schools. And how did I get started in education? So my family is from West Africa, Ghana. And if you know anything about a good African family, education is everything, right? And so my father particularly used to always tell me to never see a life with ceilings. You know, anytime I would have anxiousness or I would have apprehension or fear, he would say, what are these ceilings that you're creating for yourself, right? Your potential is limitless. And with having that as a foundation, ultimately, it set the tone for my academic track. I was really good in English. I'm a writer. You know, I wrote for my high school newspaper, and I never forget when you have that meeting with the guidance counselor and they're starting to track you towards post-secondary readiness. And he goes, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I want to be a writer. I think I'm going to be a journalist. And he happened to also be African and Nigerian. I always remember him. And he said, I think you should be a teacher. I think it's a more determined career path, and I think you would do great. And, you know, being 17, I was like, okay, I'll become a teacher. What I didn't realize was just how much I would fall in love with education. And I would fall in love with learning and being around the potential of children. What started out as okay, I have an aptitude for English, and I can read well, I can write well, I'm great in literacy. I'll use that talent to become a teacher. I always say my purpose found me. And so I became a teacher, an English teacher in a middle school, became an assistant principal of a middle school. Then I became a high school principal, a K through 8 deputy superintendent, and full circle moment, superintendent in Queens South High Schools, where I grew up. I'm a native of Queens South, South Jamaica, Queens. I oversee districts 27, 28, 29. I grew up in 27. I taught in 29. My mother currently still lives in South Jamaica, Queens. And so for me, and having this full circle moment, I always say this is legacy work. I get to contribute to the fields of education at a higher level. For starting in a classroom and being able to touch students directly. Now I get to support the educators and the leaders that touch children directly, and the school communities that help to cultivate our young people into being successful people, and also just tapping into their genius that they come with, that intrinsic genius that our children come with. And so that's a little bit about me and how I came into education. And I remember that turning point in my career when I was a teacher, where I was starting to help to coach and develop other teachers. And my principal at the time said, you know, I think you would be a great administrator. And I said, okay. You know, and that led me to going for my SBL and my SDL with CITE. When I took the program, I remember saying, okay, you know, I'm going to do this. You know, my principal I think this is a good idea. Okay, I think that's a trend in my life of just being able to kind of follow a path that I'm not necessarily determining for myself and finding my purpose. And so I started the CITE program and my lens widened, right? I started to, very much as a teacher, you're on the dance floor, right? I started to get what were the first hints of having a balcony view of education, really thinking about systemic leadership, really thinking about how at the district or central leadership level, just how much impact, right, you have and how much touch you have because you're touching so many people, the leaders, the community, the students, all of the different variables that create the ecosystem of education. You have a great type of positioning to help to impact that. And so, in going through CITE, I met a lot of people. I have a lot of long-term friends who are also assistant principals, deputy superintendents, superintendents. CITE is like a household name. It's one of those pathways that you just go into and you get really high quality education and support towards becoming those higher level leadership positions and being ready for those higher level leadership positions.
Definitely, definitely. All of this is so inspiring, it really is. And yes, it's like your foundation was literally laid out almost for you. And like seeing the steps that you've taken to really grow is so inspiring. It's so remarkable. But one thing I want to know is it's definitely not easy to juggle everything all at once. So how was it? And also, I guess this is a two-parter. What really made you like push yourself to go from a teacher to assistant principal, school principal, deputy superintendent, and then superintendent? Because it's not easy being a teacher. So to really go ahead and keep on taking it steps further.
I am a person of faith. I am driven by. Yes, I'm a person of faith. I am driven by the direction in which God leads me. And I feel that your purpose is predetermined even sometimes before you fully see it for yourself. I've been tapped and called into spaces that I'm honored to be into and be in. And be with people who are really being able to kind of support and drive change within our educational system. When I think about your first question, which is how do I manage it all? I'm a mom, I am a wife. I'm the youngest of 9, so I have a big family. The way in which I juggle it all is by one, creating balance. Being able to prioritize my time between urgent versus important, right? Being able to make sure that I nurture what matters most, which is my health, my family, so that I can then pour into others, right? We can't pour from an empty vessel. So making sure that I prioritize wellness, I prioritize making time for the people in my life that matter most to me, my children, my husband, my friends, so that I could be refueled to kind of do this work that I do. And what continually pushes me is the path that I feel that God has set for me. Every time I step into another space that even I am like, can I do this? Will I do this? One, I play my father's message. What are these ceilings that you've created for yourself? There are no ceilings, right? Your potential is limitless. And then I sit in the seat and somehow between the mentorship I've received, between the education that I've received, the quality programs such as being in CITE and then going for my doctorate with SAGE has prepared me for a time as such. And so I rely on that faith. I rely on the fact that I've built the ability and the skill set to be able to navigate different levels of leadership. And I also know that there is a collective genius that helps to move this work forward. I don't do this work in isolation. I have a great team, I have amazing leaders, and more importantly, I have dynamic scholars. And collectively, we push the work forward, right? Using a lot of what I learned within CITE and SAGE about change leadership, right? Thinking about how Van-Ess talks about the very first thing a leader needs to have is a guiding vision, right? And then have that guiding coalition to be able to really, really, really drive the change. And really that guiding coalition work is CITE, right? And when he talks about those 8 stages of change, and really just thinking about how you work collectively to set a vision, to build strong teams and strong leadership, building the capacity and investing in the capacity of people to be able to then support the outcomes that you want, right? And you want to see for children. And so I think what keeps me going are the people I work for, the organization that I work for, being able to impact young people's lives. We have a critical job, the most important job I think it
Absolutely.
is to have, right? And so making sure that we do that work with intentionality and integrity, with love and joy, is critically important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And before we get into the amazing work that you're doing overseeing HBU, college prep high school, so this is another two-part, but what's one piece of advice that you give a teacher that's looking to get into administration but is a little apprehensive, but they really want to go ahead and get into that journey? And same question, but what advice would you give a school principal that wants to take it up another notch and get into being a superintendent?
The advice I would give a teacher looking to get into administration would really be to consider what role do they want to play in this particular educational system, right? And how has their experience to that time prepared them for that very position or moment, right? To really be able to consider their capacity, to consider the supports that they would require in order to be successful, and also to think about the fact that they can and will do great things should they bet on themselves, right? I think at times we overthink decisions, right? And I think that a little bit of that imposter syndrome sets in. And I want a teacher and even a principal to kind of beat that voice back that says, oh, I can't, I don't know if it's right for me. I've never seen myself as an administrator, to really be able to determine how do you enter that seat authentically you, right? Being able to learn what you need to learn, but also to be able to curate the experience based on who you are as a person, right? I get to enter a space and be a leader from a place of authenticity. I've learned from amazing educators that have come before me, and ultimately that has helped to influence my leadership. But ultimately, I get to enter a space and contribute from a space of authenticity in who I am, right? So 1, you're enough. That would be the greatest advice. 2, you have the skill set to be successful. 3, seek mentorship. I think mentorship is critically important to be able to learn from people within the field that you want to move into, or the seats that you want to move into. 4, be able to invest in your own professional development, right? making sure that you are current in practices, that you understand the current context of leadership, that you are prepared to respond to the time in which you're leading in. And five, really being able to call on your village. There's a lot of people that you are teaching with, leading with, that can provide you great counsel and advice, that have a skill set that may be complementary to yours, that may have done certain things that you aspire to do. Call on the village, learn from them, let them deepen your capacity and your lens, and use that knapsack, that toolbox, all of those type of different analogies that you'll carry with you in order to affect change in that next iteration of your career, which would be leadership.
And on top of all the amazing things you're currently doing, you are wearing on another hat, overseeing HBCU college prep high school. So a lot of people don't even know that that exists, specifically in Queens, New York. So how did that come about, and what is that like?
Yeah, so I currently have 29 high schools. September 2025, I will have one more. So I will have 30 high schools, one of which will be HBCU early college prep. And so a huge shout out goes out to the founding principal and the creator of this proposal, Dr. Asya Johnson. Our chancellor determined that certain spaces really required accelerated learning opportunities for students, and between our mayor and our chancellor, they have been committed to ensuring that they have opened in key areas accelerated school options. And so you'll see some of those accelerated options in places like the Bronx and Brownsville, Brooklyn, and now in Southeast Queens. We too are benefiting from that vision and mission set forth by our mayor and chancellor. And so when the proposal was presented to me, I said, there's nothing like this in New York City, right? And not only is it an accelerated option for students, it's also an opportunity for students to have a learning experience from a historically Black college, right? And for the school to be framed after the culture, the high expectations, the deepened coursework that HBCUs come with, right? And so we are excited about launching this school. I have so many amazing schools within my superintendency, and adding this as an option for the community continues to add to that fabric of excellence that is Queens South High Schools. And so some of the things that students will be afforded with HBCU prep, they'll have summer residencies at DSU. Delaware State University is the direct partnership for this particular HBCU. The school is modeled after DSU and has a direct connection to DSU. And so students will be able to benefit from going to summer residencies, learning abroad, being able in the 11th and 12th grades, learning from professors from DSU who will both teach them in a hybrid format as well as come to New York City. They really will be able to get an associate's degree fully paid for. So by the time they leave high school, they would have, should they complete all of the college courses that they will also be taking during high school, they will have a fully funded associate's degree. And not only that, should they continue to pursue their educational pursuits, they will be able to get into DSU. And so we are excited about that particular opportunity. One, students being able to obtain an associate's degree from DSU, but then to also have the opportunity to continue their studies there is an amazing opportunity for our scholars. And so we're excited about the partnership And we're thankful for the leadership at DSU, the leadership of Dr. Asya Johnson, as well as the support from New York City Public Schools around this particular school and initiative.
Congratulations on that. That is amazing work. That is the work of changing the world. You are literally changing the world. And it's so amazing that you get to even do it somewhere that you grew up. That really is a full circle moment to, have, your footprint on Queens. There's no words to explain that.
So I just want to say I'm utterly grateful for the experiences that I had going through the CITE program and going through SAGE for my doctorate. It ultimately changed the landscape of my leadership. Being able to learn from professors who not only had the capacity and the skill set, but the experience. Learning from my colleagues and being able to engage in collaboration and collaborative tasks and assignments, being able to truly deepen my lens as a leader really started from being able to go through these leadership programs. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm grateful, and I often reference my education, especially in going through SAGE, that it not only changed my leadership, it changed my life. Just being able to have the perspective of what are those essential skills, those essential drivers, behaviors of a great leader, and being able to kind of engage in the research around leadership practice and development has really helped to shape not only how I show up in this work, but how I show up as a human being, right? Those essential skills about integrity and collaboration and being reflective, those are all things that we need as people, right? And so it's not only the preparation for leadership positions and seats, it's, preparation in how to navigate this world as just a solid human being. So I'm thankful for the experiences and the people that I have met along the journey of going through these programs.
Thank you so much, Dr. Van-Ess, for sharing your remarkable journey and passion for education with us on today's episode. Your dedication to following your purpose and driving meaningful change is truly inspiring. We're thrilled to witness the impact you're making, especially as you take on the incredible task of overseeing an HBCU college prep high school. Your work in collaboration with Delaware State University and Dr. Asya Johnson is bound to transform lives and create new pathways for success. Thank you for being a beacon of purpose and leadership in education, and for reminding us of the power of staying true to our mission. To learn more about our administration SBL-SCL program with Russell Sage College, please visit www.citesageadmin.com or email diane@citeprograms.com. And to learn more about our doctoral program with Russell Sage, please visit www.citesage.com or email Jennifer@citeprograms for more information. Till next time.